Because this is quite a long episode, if you want to get to the news section, skip to roughly the 40-minute mark.
I'm trying to think of a good name for my character in this game.
Oh, we have to make character names?
It lets you change your name for whatever. I was going to try and be like Sexy Milkshake, but it's way too long for
Too long, dang.
Sexy Milk, apparently.
Yeah, Sex Milk. Sex Milk, that's even worse.
I kind of want to put Old Milk as mine just to be stupid, but it'll be hard to tell who's who.
Yeah, true.
It's like the Spice Girls. Everyone's a different type of milk.
Where did you change your name? Did you just talk to the old guy or something? I see him, the Keebler elf. Wait a second, hold up. I say friends, and it says, but you cannot play with friends in the demo version of this game.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh.
We're screwed. We're totally screwed.
That's real, dog. That's how it goes. I think you do local play. You guys want to get together in California?
Yeah. Well, Matt,
I'll just get a plane ticket.
What is your name, Schmooga? So I don't call you Schmooga9.
Matt.
Okay, yeah. That's much easier.
Shit, Sexy Milk totally wanted to.
Yeah, I'd see Old Milk and be like, oh yeah, Matt. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, I guess in the interest of the podcast, Matt, I'll just jump on and play some online by myself. Give it a shot so I can comment on it.
I don't get it because the demo is supposed to be here's a taste test to get you interested in the full game. Fine, and then they're like, oh, you can only use them at these 3 days at these specific times. Fine. And now you can only use it within these certain random parameters. It's like.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Save it for the podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me here is Eli.
Not nearly as much energy as Matt.
Mike.
Coming on down. Oh yeah, from New York. Mike
And our special recurring guest is Unoclay.
Hey guys. Sounds like a lot of energy in the room tonight. All right.
Yep. And we have one final guest.
And his name is John Cena.
Alright, it's already the best podcast, so it's over.
What's John Cena been playing?
Oh, just everything. He was really into puzzle games, shockingly.
You would never guess it.
Yeah, I know. He's just doesn't give that kind of attitude. I just heard a lot of John Cena stuff this week, and I got so hooked up, and it was just hilarious. All the memes. But before we actually start into what we've been playing, I've seen a lot of people check out our Facebook page and even my Facebook page. So yeah, unless Flea is actually being serious and that he's trolling the Facebook thing, which I don't think he is because he said screw Facebook before. But since people are visiting it anyway, why don't our listeners send us Mario Maker levels and then we can review them on the podcast and talk about them, because it's kind of hard to find people's individual levels, especially good ones. So just check out our Facebook page and post them. So now on to what we've been playing, or what we've not been playing, as Unoclay and I know. But one thing I did play this week was my friend brought over Rare Replay, and I played the Battletoads Turbo Tunnel level, which is just insane.
Infamous level.
Yeah, and this one actually repeats and cycles, so it goes on infinitely. Not that we would make it that far, but that one section is just so addicting, and if the music wasn't awesome, I would have stopped playing it. Because if it's slightly annoying, then you're just gonna get sick of it. But it's the music is so awesome, I kind of want to play it to hear the music as well.
Huh. I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I remember it well. I remember that game being punishingly insane. I was pretty good at it as a kid. I never finished it, of course. No sane person did, but yeah. That's cool. So Rare Replay, at least that part of it seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually beat the 45-second challenge, just barely at 49 seconds. So I was like, I'm good. I beat it. Let's stop this addiction and move on. Because or else I'll just be there all night. But
I know Mike likes insanely difficult games like Donkey Kong Country. Mike, have you ever played Battletoads, especially that level?
Yeah, I've what
I
do you
think
call
we
it?
streamed it at one point.
Yeah, I beat Battletoads, the original. It's such a great game.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the wind tunnel is cool, but when you get to play the lava rocket level in like world like 7, level 8, oh man, that is fun. Like that shit is just fun. It's not even like it's hard. It just gets so fun and ridiculous. Like I don't know. I enjoy that shit. I enjoy it. It's classy. It's classy.
It's funny because after my friend and I finished the challenge, or at least what we deemed was finished, he's like, "Oh yeah, there's the whole other song of it." I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't just repeat that." It's like, no, we only experienced like a third of the actual song because that's how far we could make it. We're like, "Oh, there's an awesome like rest of the song."
Oh, all right.
Someone made like this metal remix of it. It's awesome. You should check it out.
I love when people like remake songs and it just like come out fantastic. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
great.
so awesome. But the other thing I tried to play was Triforce Heroes. So Nintendo put out a demo and they're like, we'll send out these emails to some people for, I don't know how they choose, but whatever. They send it to random people and they're like, here's 3 codes, 1 and 2 for your friends. And I'm like, okay, so Unoclay and I play online together a lot, so I'm like, okay, so I'll have him on, or I'll play with him and then we'll find out some other person. And we ended up finding someone else, Excelment, who's in the beginning of this. He makes a little cameo in the beginning, but he couldn't actually come on the podcast. But
yeah, shout out to X Element for all his patience today. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let me give you props for being patient with the setup process.
Yeah, the 5 minutes we spent talking was still fun, despite actually playing. But they're like, okay, Nintendo's like, okay, there's 3 different days.
I just said 5 minutes. Holy cow!
Yeah.
I think it's a generous 5 right there. More like 25, 35 minutes of setup we were doing. We
well,
for the
5 minutes of talking.
Yeah, for the listeners, we were definitely trying to get this game together for a little while.
Oh yeah, for like days.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, X Element, for being patient with our insanity today.
Yeah, but Nintendo's like, okay, the games are only available Friday, Saturday, Sunday, between these times. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of stupid because it's a demo. You want as many people to play as possible. I get it, they have online and it's not fully functional or whatever, but they're just testing it. But still, it's dumb. And then we find out the hard way that you can't play with friends online. You can only play friends locally, and only if you have 3 people. You can't do 2 friends locally or online and then a third person that's random or any combination. So it's just either you play you and 2 random people or you play with 3 friends locally. And it's just like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
It's just so dumb. It's like you have this demo. It's only available for 3 days between specific times already. So you're already cutting down a lot of people. And now you're sectioning off all this other stuff. It's not like these people would play this demo over and over because it's a limited time. So why not just let like anyone play? I mean, you already gave them the code, so only a limited amount of people can actually play it anyway. So why not just open it?
The only thing I could think of after we were talking about it and after we had our negative experience of not... What was that? Oh, shoot. I'm going to call back in if I'm getting slow-mo. All right, sorry, guys. I'll call right back.
All right.
It's
So
funny,
wait,
okay.
I was gonna ask, how do you feel about it though? Does it seem like kind of like Link Between Worlds meets Four Swords, or what do you?
I don't know because I didn't get to play it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't even be able to play it alone?
No, that's the point.
The demo is only
I missed
multiplayer.
that part.
The demo is you can only play with 3 friends locally or just random people online. Out of like the 6 different combinations.
Okay, I guess I missed that part.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's really screwed up. The most amount I got to play was my friend and I were locally in a lobby, and we realized if you run into the wall, like this music ball comes down, and if you slash it, it'll play part of a tune, and as long as you keep it up in the air like a beach ball, then it'll continue the tune. That's all we got out of it. That's as much as I've played of that game.
Sorry for the feedback. Do I sound any better now, guys?
Yeah, you good.
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. I was going to say before, when we were reflecting on why the heck they had the limits on joining with friends versus being only permitted to join with strangers remotely, the one thing I could think of in terms of marketing sense that could explain it would be that they want randoms to have enough people to be able to join with, rather than just just joining with only little groups of your friends, and then therefore if like some kid who has no buddies to play with tries to jump in, there's not a huge pool of players is going to be eliminated because we all played it with our friends and then just left, so
yeah.
Maybe it makes sense for a demo, but I hear you. I was as frustrated as anyone with not being able to try it then, it turns out, because we missed all the windows when we could have tried it.
Yeah.
So
I could see that, but I mean, people still post with other random people to different, here's a thread where we'll just toss out codes, and Nintendo tossed out their own tweets with random codes, so I don't know. It's silly to say the least. At least have the single player as a backup option, I guess. No. Yeah, because then you run into the same problem you said. But speaking of the single player, I saw Game Explained do a video of it, and it doesn't actually look like it'll be that annoying. I mean, he was fighting an easy boss, but the good thing about it is enemies only, at least from what I've seen, enemies only target you, whatever character you're playing as, not the other two doppelgangers. So if you're leaving the other two randomly, enemies aren't going to bother attacking them, which is good.
That seems like an easy way to cheat, though. Let's say a fireball is being sent your way and there's no way to dodge it. You're just going to switch to another guy.
I guess. But the other good thing was So the thing in this game is if any of the three teammates take damage, since you have a shared life bar, you're all screwed. But in single player, if an enemy hits one of the doppelgangers, it doesn't count. So it's not I left two guys in some spot because I can't obviously control all three, and they got hit, I'm screwed. It's just whatever character you're playing as is the one that takes damage and is targeted. So that doesn't seem too bad. But I mean, I guess there could be that problem, Eli, where someone might switch back and forth. But I think it's somewhat balances out, because if you're fighting an annoying boss that's fast and you gotta pick up all your characters and cobble yourself together, it's harder to do that by yourself as well. So I think it might even out to some extent. But I saw Mike, you posted a couple of videos. I think you were at Comic-Con or something, and you were playing a bunch of games.
Yeah. I was at Comic-Con last week, so I missed the podcast because I was just kind of beat when you guys hit me up. And I forgot.
Which Comic-Con is this? Because aren't there 12 different Comic-Cons?
New York, right?
Comic-Con. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, Nintendo, the only thing Nintendo had there was Yokai Watch. At least they came. They didn't come at all last year. They came the year, the first time I went, they had all the stuff. But, yeah, so I went through Yokai Watch. Actually, I played Pokken Tournament Fighters, whatever it's called. Which would probably just get translated to Pokemon Tournament anyway. And then I played some. Who cares about the non-Nintendo games I played?
Ain't nobody care.
Yeah, I know, really. Come on, it was just Street Fighter, Dark Souls, and Tales of Symphoria.
Oh, why would we even talk about that?
Yeah, all right, so. Freaking Yokai Watch is kind of awesome. I know they're saying they're planning a demo, but I got to play the beginning of the game kind of thing. And all right, I don't want to say it's kind of like Ni no Kuni, but some element there are definitely a lot of Ni no Kuni elements. But at the same time,
let me just say I called this back in June. I told you it'd be the next big thing.
Yeah, it's freaking cool. Alright, there was those rotation battles in Pokemon and all that. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, though, you're constantly battling with your spirit, so you can cycle them the whole time. So if I hold R, I'm cycling through my whole, I'm gonna say Pokemon collections. I don't know what the hell they call them. My spirits, right? And So I'm just going through, like, I'll have the cat guy out and, like, I don't know, say a piece of poop and a ghost. Alright, and then, like, I'll notice my ghost guy's getting hit. I'll hit right on the, I'll hit the right trigger. It'll cycle through other guys. You could target specifically one. You could use the touchscreen controls actually really help out rather than just using button mapping. And you need to use a touchscreen because you can purify your guys. That means if they're like kind of dead, you can actually bring them back to life, and you have to tap the screen a lot. If you want to do an ultimate attack, you have to draw out or pop the bubbles. Like everyone has a different ultimate attack, and I'm not too you don't catch them with like Pokemon and stuff. It works in two ways. One, there's bad things that like affect society around you. So if you're lazy and don't want to do anything, aka me. You'll be affected by yokai, and you'll notice that. You'll use your yokai watch, you'll detect it, and you'll defeat the spirits around the guy, and he'll feel better. But then if you want to catch more for your team, like catching is kind of like somewhat random. It depends on how well you battle. So if you're like really good at it, they might get impressed and join your team. But you can find them anywhere. Like your radar will go off at the top. It'll kind of, like you could inspect the tree or the bush, and it'll go inside, and you got to search around each one. Like one of them you can tap, you can engage to a battle. Others you have to like tap 3 times, they'll run away. Like it doesn't do it justice me explaining the game, but it's really unique and fun. So I would get Yokai Watch. Like I would buy it. I was convinced playing it. And then okay, you go.
I was gonna say why don't you bring up Pokken Tournament?
All right. So I got to play. I played the tutorial Pokken Tournament. I didn't get to play against my friend. So my friend faced the CPU. I also faced the CPU at the end of the tutorial. I played with Lucario. Like, it sucks because the tutorial is in Japanese, so I only really learned from button mapping. It's cool. Like, that's all I could say. It's cool. Like, it's not like I really feel like I couldn't understand as much. Like, I get FGC games. I know how they work. So I was like, all right, I kind of understand this, and I think there's a Pokemon type element to it. I couldn't really tell, but to be honest, the Mega Evolutions are on point. It looks fantastic. Like, the graphics are, like, amazing, alright? There's a lot of, like, Pokemon-esque things in the game. Like, you actually get, like, an assist, and it's actually a side Pokemon, and you can choose between, like, fire or, like, a water type. And I don't know if it affects more. I don't think it affects more on the damage. Like, if I'm fighting Charizard, I'll pick, like, Mudkip as my assist. That's not going to do much. But Mega Evolutions actually are all in there, so that might limit the roster to only who has Mega Evolutions. Because you can actually transform into that for about 20 seconds. I also say the jumping mechanic's actually pretty cool. Like, you can fight in the air for a while. I didn't really get to use any range attacks. I didn't know how they worked. But honestly, it's really cool. I wish I had more time with it to really give you guys a better explanation. But like, it's getting localized. I think it's something cool for like Pokemon guys who don't really play fighting games. It's different. And I got to use that weird controller it came with, and it actually felt pretty comfortable, except for the start button. It's like fake built in.
Cool. So is there a dedicated jump button, or do you have to tap up? There's
a dedicated jump button.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're able to map in whatever way you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's obviously for the demo. I think there's only Type A and Type B, which I couldn't even read anyway. It's just Japanese, so I'm like, oh, okay, but. And the demo had every character. It could have been Luchador, Pikachu, it could have been regular Pikachu, Suicune, Charizard. Like, Billy was Charizard. He told me how he played. He faced a Machamp.
Okay.
What do you call it? Like I said, I'm Lucario. I think Lucario and Pikachu might be like the kind of like the basic characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are gonna pick them kind of thing because it's. I mean, think about it like Mario and Smash. Like when you look at Mario, he's the most basic build fighter. That's because They assume people are inclined to pick him. So,
cool.
Getting a phone call, but I'm gonna have to ignore it real quick. Sorry. Other than that, I just played Smash and Super Time Force Ultra. I won my brother won like $200 I only won like 140, 150 this weekend.
Wow,
You're slacking. You're slacking.
Lucky bum.
Yeah.
I know this isn't necessarily a Nintendo, but Street Fighter V looks kind of neat, and I think you were trying the new character Laura or whatever. So, how is that like? How does that compare to the other one, and what do you think of it?
All right. Well, I'm not the biggest Street Fighter connoisseur or whatever. I can't. No, fanatic would be a better word, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I played.
It looks cool though.
Marvel vs. Capcom guy anyway, besides Smash, but I enjoyed my time playing with Street Fighter. I got to use also the fight stick that's coming out with the game. I played on the PS4. Laura, I can't really. I mean, it more of like if you played Street Fighter, each character has his own differences. Like there's some characters who are charge characters versus grab heavy characters. Like Ryu and Ken are like they're basically the Marios. All right.
Yeah.
So like it's the same. It's whatever they do. It's kind of like, all right, these are the most basic characters. Like after that, like if I played Zangief, the big Jack guy, he's more of a grab heavy character.
Yeah, I figured.
And yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know how Laura plays, but I'm going to say I'm interested in Street Fighter 5.
Were you not the one playing the game in your video?
That one I didn't get to play. I got to play in the other girls now. It's like that one. That was on the big live screen. We were kind of waiting to play before we recorded that one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Eli, why don't you go next? I saw you lucky jerk. You were playing Yoshi's Woolly World and actually reviewed it.
Yeah, I reviewed it. I got it not very much earlier, but I did get it. And I'm playing it. I beat it. It's a really good game. Honestly, I was surprised because usually, after I write my review, or even before I write my review, I'll look over some of the other reviews around the internet and see what the general opinions are because I'm curious about that. And for Yoshi's Woolly World, its current Metacritic right now is a 76. I went on to it and I was looking through some reviews, and I really don't know why it's not getting higher reviews. I've been hyping this game for over a year now. I played it last year at E3. I loved it then. I loved it this year's E3, and I still love it today. And I don't know why people aren't giving it a little more credit. The game is of course really cute and really beautiful and really attractive in that sort of manner, but outside of that, the gameplay is very good, and the game is challenging, especially if you are going for a lot of the collectibles. Each level is so many different collectibles, and if you're really trying to get the most out of the game, it's a really challenging experience. It's great fun to play with more than one person. It's a pretty decent length game for a platformer. There are only 6 worlds, but each of the 8 levels on each of the worlds are pretty long, like 10 to 15 minutes, if not longer. So it's really like a 10-hour game. More, as I said, if you decide to go get in the collectibles. It's a really excellent platformer. There are new elements and one of the criticisms was that, there were a lot of new ideas at the beginning, but as the game went on, there weren't as many new ideas, and I completely disagree. I don't understand how the reviewers didn't see that, the ingenuity of the later levels in the game.
From what
I
was gonna ask.
go on, Mike.
I got to play co-op with my friend. It came out on Friday, and I thought, honestly, I thought the co-op was fantastically made. I loved all the levels. I thought the soundtrack was great. I was like, wow, this actually feels like the truest sequel to Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island than any other Yoshi game I've played. I've been reading a lot of negativity on it. I'm like, oh, all right. I mean, I love it. So I mean, I'm with you on that boat. I don't understand how this game has gotten such a bad rep. So.
Yeah, I was looking up videos of it for a video I made before, and a lot of the levels look really unique. There's a lot of diversity within each world and all the levels, and people are gonna hate me for this, but I kind of regret getting Super Mario Maker instead of this, since I won't be able to buy games for a while, because it looks like,
yeah, trust me,
every time I see it, I'm like, I would enjoy this more.
This is better than Super
I get
Mario
to play
Maker.
A game too.
Yeah, 100%.
That is hard to believe. You guys.
Well, I mean, think of it this way. The people who are making the levels in Mario Maker are
just
Mario
Maker's cool for what it is, but judging it as a game, I mean, nothing can beat first, the developers over at Nintendo creating some of the best levels, some of the best developers in gaming. Super Mario Maker, I mean, the tools are cool, and don't get me wrong, creating a level is really cool. And going online and seeing some of the levels is cool, but are there any levels really that can stand toe-to-toe online to where not just super challenging levels that are cool to look at and watch people play, but more that you jump in and you play through the level, and you're like, wow, this really stands toe-to-toe with some of Nintendo's offerings.
I mean, that's a big requirement. I would agree there, toe-to-toe, but I mean, I've spent easily, I mean, Matt knows, he's seen how much I've been on there. I spent 30, 40 hours of that game already. And I can say I have played many levels that would fit your requirement for not just flashy, not just hard, that are really, really cool levels. And people, it's a matter, I mean, but like anything in life, it is a bit of a matter of spending a lot of time digging around, you know. But
it's not handed to you on a silver platter.
I think the difference here, besides just who's making the levels, is just that we've seen Mario so much over the years, so it's kind of it's not really different to us, but seeing this, it's like everything is completely different, so it's kind of hard to compare. Yeah.
The other thing, the big complaint about Mario Maker is they're just
no slopes.
They're just levels, but they're not like there's no game. Like people, you could create your own little like course or series of courses, but there aren't, for example, worlds to play through that people have created. And, for some people that doesn't matter, but for other people that really like a sense of progression and stuff like that, there is something to be gained by having a sort of structure, which Super Mario Maker lacks. And that's just me.
I agree. No, I agree. Even as a big fan, I agree that is something they could build in as possibly an update or a DLC or not DLC probably, but more like an update where you could have that feature. It would be in my top 5 list of like, how come I can't make a world, and send it to my friends, like an entire course or whatever. So I hear that.
My problem with the game is I want to collect amiibo costumes because it's really cool that they have them in there. But the only problem is you can only do so via the 100 Mario challenge or whatever. And the easiest way to get them is to play the easy levels because there's fewer levels and half of them play themselves anyway. So you try to mash through that and you only get one costume per level, and it really gets grating because like, okay, I'm playing these boring levels so long, like I don't want to play this game anymore. And then even if you do the normal, like better made levels and there's more levels in it, it's still like you only get one costume after playing like 15 levels. It's like, well, how can I do that?
Completionism. It definitely not lend itself to that. I mean, that would be. I know Mike and I know Eli have had a huge amiibo collection. So even if I scanned in all my amiibos, I'd still have 50, 60 more costumes to unlock. So I hear you there. If you're into completionism, it's almost impossible. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to Yoshi's Woolly World.
Okay.
So I really recommend people check it out and play it. The bundle for $60 or $48 if you have Gamers Club unlocked. It comes with an amiibo. Like you could sell the amiibo. They're going for $30 right now on eBay. Pick up the bundle, sell the amiibo. The game is $30. I don't understand why it's really underrated, I feel. And I feel like one of the major issues that really doomed this game is the fact that it came out so much later than Europe. Like Europe got it this summer, and I feel like a lot of the thought about it just kind of vanished. When you've got Zelda coming up right now, and Mario Maker just came out, and looking forward, Xenoblade and Yokai Watch and stuff like that.
Just the rest of the fall games too.
And Nintendo's fall is really weak. I do think Yoshi helped it out, but I feel like it's kind of gone a little unnoticed. And games like Chibi Robo go unnoticed, but that kind of, no offense, deserves to go unnoticed. But Yoshi's Woolly World is really a gem, and I'm surprised that it's not getting a little more recognition.
Yeah, I'm surprised people are saying like it's the next step from Yoshi's Island. That thing I think really surprised me because people are because people are really weary of saying, oh, this is the next step of this, because they're like, no, we think of this one game so fondly, nothing could be equal or better to it. Like, so it's really hard for fans to make that comparison. But for that to be used so often, it's like, wow, I guess this game is better than what it leads on to be.
Yeah, number one, I have been hearing that. But number two, and I want to stress this, a lot of people are looking at this as kind of the spiritual successor, if not to Yoshi's Island, then to Kirby's Epic Yarn. And now that I look back on Kirby's Epic Yarn, I really feel like the aesthetic did more than anything for that game. And just thinking about it, like, I remember that game really wasn't that innovative in terms of gameplay. It was a really cool style, don't get me wrong, but for me, looking back on it, and maybe I just need to replay it, it doesn't really seem like it had all that much unique gameplay and stuff like that, and I feel like it got a kind of a free pass in that category. But Yoshi's Woolly World is really nothing like Kirby's Epic Yarn. And it's really different in terms of gameplay and challenge and unlockables and multiplayer and all these elements that really make me feel like it's a different type of game and a much better game in that regard.
Yeah. All right, so why don't we move on to Eli, why don't we move on to Unoclay, and then we'll get on to some news.
Sure, yeah, and I didn't mean to sidetrack the conversation, but I mean, I hear Eli making these bold comparisons, because I mean, let's look at the Metacritic. I'm gonna take Mike hasn't weighed in here, but I'll take the devil's advocacy position and say, go back in a year. I haven't played the Yoshi's game yet. I look forward to it because you're convincing me. You single-handedly and one or two other people I've talked to here, Eli, are convincing me I need to give this game a look, because I'm in the camp of yawn, tired of games that are too easy, glad they're out there for the kids, never played, Epic Yarn because I heard you couldn't even die in it or something like that. Not my scene.
No, you couldn't.
Not my scene. I'm not going to waste my $50-$60 on a game where I've never finished a Kirby game, I don't think, because of that. I'm just always like, it's cute, but I'm bored.
Well, I've never finished a Kirby game.
It's Kirby.
Kirby 64, man, or Amazing Mirror, or Return to Dreamland. Those are the only three you need to play, and they're all available on the eShop. All right, that's it.
First times you guys had me on here, you brought that up, Mike. So I hear you. I haven't done my homework there, and I grant that. That's fair. I haven't played those games, so.
Well, Amazing Mirror, the cool thing about that game, the special thing about that game is you get to fight Master Hand, you get Smash powers with Kirby.
No way.
Only
awesome.
You can do that in, and you just become OP because you're just Smash Kirby.
That was
the special thing about Return to Dreamland is you get to play as Meta Knight, which is really cool.
Was the mirror one the one that we got for the Club Nintendo loyalty or whatever apology program, whatever it was called?
Yeah.
That game was good. I totally liked that one. I got stuck because the maps were so insanely complicated that I got really lost toward the end and couldn't figure out what I needed to finish. But that is easily the one I like the best by far. So
that's the hardest play regular Kirby game. But I'd say the hardest one to get everything in is Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. And that one has the unique thing about that one is it has the double powers. And with that you can get like a Darth Maul lightsaber, like Ninja Bomb stars, but some of the crystal shards are just insanely impossible. But what I really liked about that game is you beat the game and you actually get the bad ending for the game, kind of indicating oh man, I don't think I did this right. They don't tell you, but it's you just you don't feel satisfied being the game. You're like, oh shit.
Interesting.
So,
I think I'd put Ultra Star as the next. Kirby Superstar Ultra is the next one to get. It was a remake of a game on DS, but it has a bunch of different. It has a regular Kirby campaign and then 5 other different side things, like playing as Meta Knight and whatnot. So that's cool. But why don't you continue?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I got my Kirby hate out of the way there. All right, sweet check. No, but in seriousness, this Yoshi game, I'm in that camp of Yoshi's Island original, one of the epics, never going to touch it. Nintendo just doesn't have the same devotion to that kind of a game currently, and it's really hard to remake SNES style games in that exact way, but you're convincing me. But the one thing I would say, to play devil's advocate here, because I'm glad to hear it's really good, and you're convincing me I should maybe take a look at this game, spend the money on it at some point coming up. But I would say when we consider bold statements such as for just sake of comparison, better than Mario Maker, just for the sake no fingers being pointed. When one might make a comparison to Mario Maker, there's the Metacritic argument, big deal. We could look at that, but that's not going to solve a debate. I'd say in a year, take a look back, go back and check out each game and then look at one's opinion on that and be like, which one of these holds up? Which one of these is still fun to play? I mean, maybe both will be, and that's win for everybody if that's the case. But
that's a cool idea. That's cool. I mean, I'm with you, and I hate Epic Yarn. I think that that just ruined the whole series for me, and people overrated it. And it's you can't. It's literally playing a game for for babies, not even for kids. These games are made for but this game is nothing good about it. It's you can't die. You could just Literally, you just go on the game. It's not a Kirby game. Like, I hated that. And then people discluded Return to Dreamland because of that. And it bothered the crap out of me. So I'm with you on that. When you see like that yarn kind of thing, you're like, that's not me. I don't want to play some jank ass crap. But I like that thing you're saying. Go back a year later on a game you love. Because like Banjo-Kazooie still holds up. But like, I hate Galaxy 2. I can never play Galaxy 2 again. It's just not that good.
No.
It's ass. All right, like Galaxy 1 is fantastic. Galaxy 2 is garbage. So
I would say for Mario Maker, it depends. That game really depends on the community because if the community evolves, how was I going to phrase it? Whatever. It depends on the community because if the community dies off, the game will die off. But if the community, gets better and better, like then the game will become better. Whereas every other game is the same no matter what.
Maybe
one thing about
kind of thing.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Eli. Sorry.
I wanted to point out the one thing about reviews for Mario Maker anyway is it's a hard game to review because especially for the reviewers who are sitting there with just a week, playing it or 2 weeks, it's like, how do I put a rating on a game that comes with literally no content other than level editor and 70 levels or something that the Nintendo Treehouse made or in some of their development.
Content in fairness, but I hear you. Yeah, that's true. But they gave it 9s anyway.
Yeah, but I feel like they kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt.
To be fair, Unoclay, people gave Skyward Sword 9s and 10s, and it does not deserve that. And
True.
I liked it,
if we're
Sword, how dare you?
I mean,
could be wrong. Agreed.
Oh, I forgot. I was the only one that liked Skyward Sword over here.
Eli,
no, I liked it, just not
hypnotized and
crazy.
tricked to liking Skyward Sword. All right, you don't like it. I'm telling you, as your friend.
The overworld sucked, but the palaces were good. I mean,
no, nothing good about that game at all. All right, when I put that game on, I die a little bit inside. All right.
Okay.
But
go ahead.
anyway, I just thought it was interesting for Mario Maker's reviews because I feel like it's such an unorthodox game that I don't really know if reviews are reviews, you have to do them, but I don't know if a review is going to be the best way to judge whether it's for you or not.
That's true. I mean, okay. So anyway, to move the podcast along, because that's definitely I think I can sense, we could ping pong that one back and forth.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to answer the question, I guess I'm supposed to be talking about what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of Mario Maker, Mario. I'll say it right one of these days. Mario Maker. Yeah, but I've been playing a lot of Mario Maker. I do think that there is some point to what you guys are saying, that there's a certain amount of time you have to put into it. It certainly isn't Yoshi's Woolly World or Tropical Freeze, where you're handed polished insanity of good levels, on a platter. Like, it sounds like you're saying Yoshi's Woolly World has that kind of pedigree, and I'm psyched. That's awesome. For me, I am not a level editor guy. I'm like in that huge camp of people that said, I'm not a level editor guy. I don't play with that stuff. But this game came along, grabbed me like crazy, and then I look up and see myself spending like 4 hours on one like board that I'm like moving blocks around and trying to figure out tricks to do, and just trying to make something really clever that can screw with people's heads or make a really polished level as close as you can come to that. So I've been really enjoying it. I've played a lot of it. I just posted a blog to IGN, just a list of my levels that are up so far for people to check out. I think I've been kind of improving my skill at making levels. It's hard to tell because the longer you spend on the levels and you play test it, and it's hard. I would say that's one of the weirdest things about it. You're not sure, even when you're about to publish it, if it's good or not. You're kind of like, is this going to be too hard? Is this too easy? But I've been spending a lot of time playing that, and then messing around with my typical Smash Brothers addiction at my amateur pathetic level. But that's what I've been playing.
So not to get full of myself, but you did play my level. How did you think of that? Because I built it in kind of whatever. I tried to put effort into it and make it kind of different, but how did that go over?
Well, did anybody else get a chance to play any of the levels on here, Mike or Eli? I think I'm friends with both of you guys on Wii U, but I haven't seen you guys on there lately, so I'm thinking it's just mainly me and Matt playing each other's levels right now.
Yeah, I'll have to admit, other than that first week to 2 period where it was out, I haven't really been back on Mario Maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I actually I want to play. I just didn't play this week because I've been busy with work. But I would love to play your guys' levels. Like I am like you said. I'm not a builder, but I'm especially not a builder. Even a game that wants you to build and it made it a lot easier than most games. I have no artistic skill ever. So yeah, I would love to play your guys' levels.
I
Like
bet you guys sell yourself
Cool.
short. I mean, I bet you could, Mike. You've been playing games since they were, around, and Eli,
yeah, but
same
it's like
thing.
I don't know if I'm impatient or it's like I just don't have like that view. Like I haven't really like spent the time. For me, what I want to do, to be honest, is I want to like I kind of want to get every ending in the game. I was telling Matt that every time you beat normal or expert and you finish it off as an amiibo costume, one of the 8-bit worlds, you get a different ending. So
Yeah.
I beat it as Peach, and it was like, oh, you look like me, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I actually wanted my goal is to kind of unlock every single amiibo or color like costume, and then
You
make a
will be
level where
playing. You will be playing
make
for a while,
like your
friend.
ending. You know what I mean? Like choose the like I'm gonna call it every ending. So that's my goal for like everybody.
That's wild. That's bold. Yeah. To respond to Matt's question, okay. Well, I didn't want to. I wanted to say let anyone else say anything if they had on that. Real summary, Matt. No back padding or anything like that. I like the new level you put up. The Heat. You had made the Heat Man stage before from Mega Man. I thought that was really cool. As far as remakes go, I think you nailed it. It was creative. It was straightforward. This new one. It's short, and for the listeners, he did a new Super Mario Brothers palette, and the basic concept of the level was that you start out and a giant Bowser's kind of chasing you, a la the end of like New Super Mario Brothers, sort of chasing you down a hallway, but he's like bouncing, like kind of fly bouncing, and there's two different paths you can take. It's not a very long level. It's like if you speed run it as fast as you could probably get through either of the paths, I bet you can finish it in like 45 seconds to a minute once you get really good at it. So it's not one of those really bulky levels with multiple areas. I thought it was neat. The bottom path, Matt, I thought was so hard it's almost unusable because I couldn't finish it that way.
Really? The one with the fire?
Yeah,
fire things?
It was way more brutal. I mean, I know some people can't do the music note bounce very well, which is required for the
Yeah, that one's finicky because when I tested it jumping at a specific. Like I try to go from the center, but if you go a little bit to the left or the right of the block, like it won't be perfect. So that one takes some.
I know a lot of
skill,
people have trouble with the music notes. I'm okay with them, so I was able to like complete the level a couple times. I went through it a few times to kind of get my feel for it, so I could comment on it to you. But I thought that I mean, one of the things that listeners and the other guys here that play the game, you could probably know, but this game is the one thing is a real tough call when you're building your levels is whether to put in like cheap deaths or cheap trial and error areas where you where you get killed without knowing why, and then you have to go through the level again. You kind of had those traps at the one section where you hit the P block, and then if you hit the P block, you just get enemies just rain down on you just from the sky. Like all of a sudden you just like you're bombarded with enemies. So I liked it because your level was short, so I thought that worked. Because the level was short, and I got killed, so what? I just, it only takes me 30 seconds to get back to that section. On the other hand, I would say, like, that for listeners, I'm not the biggest fan when people make long levels and then they have cheap, trial and error sections. But it worked in yours, and then I thought the ending was clever and hard when you had that little box. So maybe in the
Yeah, I wanted to tease people because, like, it's right at the end. You can just go ahead, but are you going to risk getting yourself killed for this one thing?
Yeah, basically you're in a box with Bowser, and you have to get the axe to kill the drawbridge. You have to, like, get right on top of Bowser to get in there, and it's pretty good. Maybe in the comments, Matt, you should post the links for your level since we're talking about it, So
yeah, well, for both of ours.
So yeah, I
like my point for that one spot with all the enemies coming down is that's the quote unquote like harder path, I guess, for the boss, because I put 3 hidden 1-ups throughout the level. I don't know if you found them all.
I did find at least 2, I think.
Okay, one of them is in there. And I put a lot of switches so you'll automatically jump on it before you exit, so you can see that the enemies come down so it doesn't rain on your head, so you have a chance. But also so that it's like, okay, there's a bunch of enemies here. Now it's kind of harder. I got to dodge some of the enemies, and some of them are spiked. And also dodge the Bowser's fire and the homing missiles, so that was kind of my way of trying to make that more difficult. But I do want to talk about your level quickly because I forgot to bring it up. But your level's pretty cool. So with Unoclay's level, the theme of the level is there's bombs everywhere, but the blocks that he uses for you to move around can easily be destroyed, and it's a very narrow, not narrow level, whatever. There's very little room you can move, so it's hard not to hit a bomb. But you also need to hit a bomb to destroy blocks so you can continue. So the problem is, if you hit too many bombs, you're gonna blow up the platform you're on or get yourself killed. But you also need to use it to progress, and I thought that was a really cool level. The ice one, the ice blocks, that one part really got me finicky because I'm like, crap, am I gonna slide on this? Like, you really have to be on edge with that. And then the way you ended it off, where you have to jump on the fire bar to be able to continue, I'm like, uh-oh, I hope I don't die in this, because I only had a mini Mario, so if I jumped on the fire bar, then I'd have to start all over again. So I was like, being really careful trying to time
that section
it.
a ton of times because I for the listeners, to get to the flagpole, the final jump, you have to leap onto one of those spinning fire bars. It's like the anchor for the spinning fire bar. I did play test it a ton to make sure it wasn't too hard. I was like, this looks hard, but you're going to be able to do it. So yeah, the other thing about it is I give you liberal fire flowers, so you have the potential of shooting fireballs everywhere and just blowing up the entire level that you're standing in. So you're almost like holding a fire flower and can't use it. But was it too hard? Too easy? Medium?
No, I thought it was good difficulty because the level's not exceedingly long. Where if you die, because I died at like the ice block, it's not like, oh man, now I got to go through this whole level. It's like, okay, it's fair difficulty. Like, it's not too bad to get back to, but it's
cool
enough.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked it. I liked how the level was reflected too.
Yeah.
In one of the areas, so that must have been.
Yeah, it took a long time. I was like,
perfect.
I made it like a mirror image of the level in either direction. The main reason actually functionally for that was, and we can just stop talking about this afterwards, but to explain that was, since the whole level is self-destructible with bombs, I was afraid of you accidentally blowing up the path in front of you and forcing you to suicide, which seemed like bad design. So I was like, the concept there is, in the entire level has like a mirror image of it, like in either direction in every phase, except that, well, not the final flagpole section, but the other sections, because then if you blew up the path in front of you, you could actually turn around and, go back the other way and like try it again, without having to kill yourself, So anyway, well, thanks for playing. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it when people take one concept and really build on it, because that was one thing I couldn't really grasp yet, and I still have to work at it. But like that level and Kazrisk's level with Yoshi's, I really like those because they develop them well. So we've been talking pretty long. I think what we'll do is we'll cut the podcast now so it's easier for me to separate the recordings, and then I'll just start the chat again, and then we'll talk about news.
All right. Wait, before you cut it. No.
What?
Oh, I was going to say, I totally forgot to mention, I played Minecraft Story Mode. And
okay.
I never played any Minecraft, so it's kind of cool for me. But I was playing it with Billy, who played Minecraft as Alpha. It's not Minecraft, so I would say, if you were looking to get into this game, I know it was on the Wii U or something like that. Like,
it's coming to the Wii U.
Yeah, that's it. And I'd say, if you want to like play a very like unique game, it's kind of like you make real-time decisions with questions while doing Minecraft stuff. You pick your own character. It's like, oh, let's do this. And it's like, oh, this person will remember that. That's going to affect your ending and how the characters interact with you. I think it's actually really cool. And it was only like $20 or something like that. It's a cool buy. Like, if you're new to Minecraft or not, like, I enjoyed it. I'm playing it with Billy right now. And I actually want to know more about the story. So, I don't know. I never really played those kind of games, but I know it's coming to the Wii U. So, possibly check that out.
Cool. We'll see if if your choices really do matter, huh, Eli, with The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew that game was a total scam. When it says there's two endings, it's just like, alright, it's the last thing, to kill the person or not. Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah. I just brought that up because I was looking at older blogs before. But we'll cut it off here, and then we'll just start back in a second. Hello?
And we're back!
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow. Everybody
Yeah.
accounted for?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still not here.
Okay, good. We don't care. All right, so why don't we move on to news? I'll just whip through some of these other things because they're quick and we want to get on to the actual good stuff. So, Amiibo Villager restocks and Mega Yarn Yoshi Toys R Us exclusives. That's kind of stupid. Falco is a Best Buy exclusive. Lottie from Animal Crossing is an exclusive to Best Buy, at least in Canada. Shovel Knight.
Just Canada.
Yeah, I never really know what the heck is going on there because, like, it's in Canada. Okay, so is it exclusive to a different store in the States or... Oh, I don't
We don't
really
know yet.
Yeah, who knows? Who cares? It's just an Animal Crossing character. Shovel Knight in the UK, that amiibo is delayed like a week or so. I'm still wary of why it's coming earlier there than anyone else, but whatever. Amazon has a Smash Bros. DLC bundle with the game, but it's pointless. I checked it out and you save like $1. So you're better off buying the game vanilla version by itself, like on a sale or used somewhere or whatever, and then just buying the DLC yourself and it'll be cheaper because you don't have to pay for shipping that way if you just buy it from a store rather than Amazon. Well, I guess Amazon does free shipping over $30 or something, but whatever. Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer has a YouTube video series if you want to get tips for that. And the standalone Lego games will apparently continue even after Lego Dimensions, and there's a hint of what game is coming next after Lego Avengers 2 or Lego Avengers. Yeah, it's just Lego Avengers because they have a bunch of them in there, but apparently there's a tease for that after. So with that out of the way, why don't we get on to the actual news, the NX. So out of nowhere, there's a bunch of NX rumors coming out, mostly from the Wall Street Journal and some other places with interviews as well. I guess we'll start off with the Wall Street Journal claims that NX kits have been given to third parties. Now, back at E3, we heard rumors that Nintendo was showing off dev kits, or at least showing off the kits to third parties behind closed doors, but it seems that they're actually going, or they apparently are getting their own kits now.
Third parties. That's a total lie.
I don't know. This rumor sounds too good to be true because it also says the second one, I guess, which you'll go into, says something far more fantasy.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. So with these,
I think it's
kits
very
being given
plausible that third parties have development kits right now. That would make sense because
like I think that's
console's gonna come out
believable.
next year.
Yeah, yeah. Even
did you guys see the terrible rumor concept art when it was just like a legit Wii U with like button pads on it? I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh,
Like, it was
yeah,
the worst picture I've ever seen. It was literally a Wii U and somebody put a D-pad and an A-B button on the front part. And they're like, it's supposed to be a handheld and a console. I'm like, I'm done. Alright? But keep going. I'd like to hear more about this NX that you guys
So Andre from Game Explain looked into it and for other consoles in the past, and he said Edge Online had an article about a year and a half before the Wii U came out saying Nintendo was sending out dev kits, and then it did come out a year and a half later after that article. So this could be telling signs that we'll be getting it in 2016 with it, which I think a lot of people are kind of expecting. But the other part of the Wall Street Journal, what they claimed, I think is rather dubious. They claim that it's so powerful that it can only be run on PCs with cutting-edge chips. So cutting-edge chips could mean a number of things depending on what these chips are actually used for. It could be cutting-edge as far as phones go. It could be cutting-edge as far as a new way a chip is developed, whatever. So that's kind of iffy. But the fact that, it's so powerful it can only run on PCs, I kind of think is bullcrap. They probably mistook it that because it's running on PC, it can only run on a PC, which doesn't matter because anytime a console is still being made and they haven't nailed down the specs, they just run off of a PC. Like the PS4, like Watch Dogs demo or whatever, it ran off a PC because there weren't any actual PS4 units out. So, like, that's just what they used to test it. So I kind of think that's kind of garbage.
Yeah. I think it's just like, what do you call it when you use correct vocabulary word, like, to kind of trick consumers, or it's just kind of a way where it's like, wow, this seems better than it should be, or it's just like,
You
all right, like,
exaggerate it.
yeah, that'd be a little bit kind of the word, like, oh, only PCs can run this. It's like, all right, well, I mean, some PCs are pretty crappy and can still run a lot of games, so. And
Yeah.
like you said, is this a cutting edge for what, a handheld for a phone? We don't know.
Yeah,
So
that could mean a number of things.
whatever. But I was gonna say, did you guys get the news that Nintendo's online servers are going out next week? They said some, like, because there's the new Club Nintendo is supposed to be out by the end of the year. So I was wondering if this is
Yeah, it's supposed to be out. They said a couple of months ago it's supposed to be out during the fall, and it is the fall now. It's going to be holiday soon. So, yeah, there's maintenance happening tomorrow, not just for Nintendo servers, but anything that uses the Nintendo Network ID. So people are thinking that'll lead to the next, the successor to Club Nintendo, the DNA, like, account system thing, whatever that is.
It could be. Another thought I had when I saw that news would be that given we should consider that Nintendo is a relative newcomer to online services, relatively speaking, and especially with the people who are providing, since they've switched providers between Wii and Wii U. But the other thing to consider would be that sounds like a tiny mini truck horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing to consider would be that they've got a lot of new architecture running, most likely. I mean, obviously, since they now support, giant, relatively big games like Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Smash, and all these work relatively well, not seamlessly. We all know that. And now they have, the constant up and down stream function of the Mario Maker. So maybe another thing to consider would be to slow the hype train down just a tad. I would posit the idea that maybe they're just doing system maintenance because they've got a lot of new stuff running, and now that they've got one of their biggest, online things out the door for the year, Mario Maker, they're like, okay, Splatoon and all this other stuff, we need to, get in there and tinker, and we need to pull it down completely to fix something. Who knows? I'm not necessarily on the hype train of like, this is NX's system, is coming now, where they're putting it in place. I mean, maybe it is. It quite literally could be, and you're right, I just thought about, given their situation in their past, their engineers might be like screaming for a chance to like fix things that are barely hanging in there, with a lot of new stuff in there. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, people do get kind of hung up on maintenance things, especially as a Smash community. Like, there's maintenance happening, is it new characters, blah, blah, and then it ends up being nothing. So, yeah, you're right. It could be something they've just a fix they have to do. But I'm not too sure because they just updated Miiverse, at least the web version. Like, they changed the whole layout and everything. So I don't think... I don't know. I don't think they're gonna do like, here's a Miiverse 3.0 or whatever like that. I think it would have to be substantial. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling crap out of my butt. But what?
Podcast.
But
the situation makes me wish that they still had Nintendo Directs, because then all would be revealed.
Yeah, and people were hoping they would have one for Monday, but we know they announced them ahead of time, and clearly they're not going to have
they
one.
only announced them like 2 days ahead of time, so...
Still, I mean, it's Monday tomorrow. They're not going to announce tomorrow that it's that day, because they give you some notice.
We're calling the Nintendo Direct to announce that we're having server maintenance for no exciting reason.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
But one or two last things about the NX was someone from Nintendo forums apparently spoke to a major game publisher, and they said, quote, one software demo included with the kit crushes so many polygons that it's currently impossible to run at 60 frames per second using a current generation Intel whatever CPU and nearly top of the line graphics card.
That's bullshit.
So yeah, I didn't hear anyone confirming the legitimacy, because I know with Reddit some mods are able to like confirm that it's an actual person. Obviously this isn't Reddit, but they still didn't have a way to confirm that it was someone legit and just not a rumor. But even this rumor itself doesn't say it can't run at all on current generation, just not at 60 frames. So it's possible it could still run at 30 frames. So I don't know. That doesn't seem like it'd be that much better, but I'm hoping Nintendo makes the NX at least as powerful as the PS4, because if they don't and they somehow make this weird gap between the Wii U and PS4 in power, they're just going to have a second Wii U which is just going to fail again, because it's like, okay, well now you've kicked yourself out of the third party category and you're just going to have the same problem again. So especially after people have already adopted like PS4s and Xbox Ones 2 years in, and having it either the same price or higher, it's already going to be a tough sell. So if it's coming out of the gate like weaker in a lot of categories, then they might as well just hold off on the console and just keep sticking with the Wii U at that point. So I think they kind of have to meet the standards of everyone.
I don't know.
You can't answer that. No.
It's honestly, I hate all these reports coming out because more than half of them are false. Probably, and it just gets people's hopes up, and I don't really have much to say because I don't want to get people's hopes up.
All right.
Well, I was gonna say with the NX. All right, so we know like Zelda's gonna get delayed for it, right? Do you think with the NX though, is it really about third-party games? Is that like really important, or is it more of like, you know how like the N64, Super Nintendo, and GameCube, they all had great games to like come out right in the beginning, great first-party games, and they're actually bundled with that. You think that would like maybe change the step where it's like, you know what, this game that came out is not only new, cutting edge, and like a series that we know, or like a kind of a new risk. It's something that we expected from Nintendo, and I want to buy this system. Like, you think that would make a difference? Because I mean, you're looking at the PS4 and Xbox One now, and it's still probably a year later. It's still not really worth the purchase. I mean, unless you're one of those 360 drones who claims they're like PlayStation guys now and just bought Uncharted and The Last of Us and realized The Last of Us is garbage. Like, is it? You know what I mean? Like, will they have enough to convince someone? Or are they trying to reach too far with this kind of like hybrid system? You know?
Well,
I don't know. I just don't know. Like,
Nintendo needs to be looking at cost, and people are highly receptive to cost. Now, some people are like, well, people don't care about cost because the Wii U was the cheapest console and was still outsold. It's like, no. I mean, when there's $100 difference and the PS4 is that much more powerful, and has so many more third-party games, and yeah, it would be understandable to spend that extra $100. But when it comes to a fusion system, like, I really hope they don't go that route, because if it ends up being super powerful, as the reports indicate, and it's a fusion system, which is pretty much 2-in-1, it's going to cost $600. You know, $600 versus a $350 Xbox One or PS4. Like, it doesn't take rocket science to tell you that's not going to fare well.
I think it depends how they go about it. Because I don't see Nintendo charging $600. They'll find another way to make it $300 or $350 or something like that. I don't know. It could be that they have the console and then you can buy the handheld separately if you want that portability, or shoot, I think there was another way of doing it. I don't know. It could be like it could be like the Wii U, where you have a tablet version in your included, but you can like walk around the house with it. Like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
The number one thing they have to do is drop the tablet, because that adds an extra $80 to the console.
You're going to be disappointed though on that, because there's no way they're going to ditch the tablet because it's got backwards compatibility.
No, they could still have the Wii U gamepad connect it. Yeah.
They could still support it without bundling it in, because that bundling it in literally costs $80. It adds $80 to the console's price.
I mean, I just think the trademark specs we've seen are the thing, and get ready, because that's what it is. The stuff that all those trademark images we've seen circulating with the drawings, with the like, it's basically a tablet with like dials on the sides. I mean, I think it is going to be some kind of
Nintendo files 100 different trademarks a year.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
They file all sorts of crap. But even assuming that's true, that doesn't mean that it's bundled with a system. Like, that doesn't. They could do like a new Gamepad 2.0. The old one also works with the new system. Everything works, but it's not going to be packed in because that's going to add an extra $100 to a system. And instead of that, we could upgrade our RAM or our video card or whatever.
Well, what if they... this might be a stretch. What if they made like a PS4 where by now I'm sure the chips are cheaper for them or they can do something else, and they have that at $300, and then they have the handheld at like $1 or $150 separate on its own, like a 3DS, let's say, kind of thing. So then in total it's about the same price as like a PS4. So it's $300 for the system, and then if you want portability, it's like $100 or $150 for the handheld, and then bundled together, it's like $400 or something. That would be roughly around the same price. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a stretch too, because you'd be cutting it down, but who knows how much they can save without bundling it.
Much.
But
yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, on all this stuff, I think it's interesting to speculate. I like to kind of hold off. I mean, I was going to say earlier when Eli was speculating the price going up to like a $600 price point, I'll say here on this podcast for the community to hear on record that if Nintendo's next system comes out and is even $500, I will live stream me playing all the way through 3 Kirby games of your choice, and you can feel free to pick the worst ones that are the most collectathon garbage of all time, and I'll sit there and moan and piss and play the games for your wonderful entertainment. So there's no
okay.
Yeah.
There's no
I mean,
we're-
think of it this way: the PS3 was $599, and after that, the like PS4, it's going to be even more money. We're like, we can't do that again. $400.
They'll take a loss before they do something like that, and they don't like taking losses.
But
So.
It would be suicide if they.
But how much
Cost
of a
more.
loss? Because the PS3 sold at a loss even at $600. So,
Sure.
that thing, because it was ridiculous, and the Blu-ray player especially inflated the cost. So, like, Nintendo is putting together what seems to be like a PC with an extra tablet. Even if they took a loss, they couldn't price it anywhere reasonably, unless they sold them separately, like Matt suggested. And the base, if it was at PS4 levels, they could maybe put out at $300. Probably in a year that would be about breaking even, maybe taking a slight loss. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's the only way, because they have to come in at least equal price to whatever the price is at that time, or cheaper, because anything higher and people are just going to say, I'm not going to bother. But why don't we move on from NX? I thought I had an interesting question for this week that's not really news related. What would you like to see for Pikmin 4, whether it's on the Wii or NX? Who knows? I know Mike isn't so big on Pikmin, but Eli, what would you like to see in Pikmin 4?
I don't know. I'm scared. They just announced it, so either one of two things is going to happen. Either, number one, that game isn't going to come out for 6 years, just like last time Pikmin was announced. Which is very possible, and in which case it's obviously going to be on an NX. Who knows? It might be a late NX game. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn out into a massive strategy game where Pikmin are like your armies, and you go and try to take over other parts of the planet with your Pikmin. I don't even know. I don't know how much bigger or it just ends